Our God and our Father who art in heaven, just thank you for loving us and looking after us. And dear Father, we just want to lift Wellston up to you and those that work here and live here. We, dear Father, want to do our best for this community. We ask for divine intervention. We ask for discernment, dear Father. And most of all, we just ask for love and compassion and help us, dear Father, to work together for the good. And thank you for loving us enough to send your Son to die on the cross for all of us. And it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it first been.
I call this meeting to order at 6:33. We'll do a roll call for everybody that may be new. Michael Moore's here.
John Cobb here.
Marcia Galloway.
Jake Snyder here.
Grace Nutter. Kim Thomas. Michelle Stanley.
David Smith.
Sherry Ripley.
Paul Palmer.
Corey Mortarian.
Debbie Stewart. I thought it was for like people who's on there. Melissa McCully.
Kristen Hiltz.
Chad Hiltz.
Mike Snyder.
Sisney Snyder.
Ramona Payne.
All right. Well, thanks again for everybody being here. Item 5 is review and approval of November meeting minutes. Since we didn't have a meeting in December, there are the third page on your.
Make a motion to approve the November 19th, 2019 minutes as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Review of and approval of November's treasurer's reports. Total reports.
We're gonna start like that around.
Yeah, I'm not used to having anybody else here.
So for the November treasurer's report, we had expenses for the trunk or treat. We had the post office box rental was paid, conference fee for Rochelle, and the Loretta shot and case was our expenses of $1,243. We had a deposit for $50 that month. Our balance in November was $6,902.79. In December, we had no deposits paid. We had expenses for the chili cook-off, canopies, and pans. So our balance as of December 31st was $6,057.70.
Do you have in your report, how you start the year off last year about?
Our balance of December 31st, 2018 was $7,866.
for the Christmas trees.
So we're about the same.
That's about the same that we took on election day this last year too, so. Now I'm gonna circle back, because I missed the guest speaker, we have Andrew Simpson here. He's gonna speak to us a little bit.
Do you want me to give you a lead-in, so to kind of bring everybody up to speed?
Sounds great.
So, a couple months back, I was talking to Andrew, and he's like, I had this great idea about doing a Route 66 theme kind of art piece. I was aware of a grant to do a roadside beautification project, and we applied for the grant. We were awarded the grant to basically kind of reconstruct this triangle piece of dirt down here across from the car wash. And so the town is going to start prepping that for a roadside Route 66 themed art installation. And I'll let Andrew take over from there, because he's the brains behind this.
All right. Well,
It's
I've
art.
brought some, what you could say is artwork. I'm not the most tech savvy, but for a visual, for you guys to kind of see. I'll just stand up here. Everybody can kind of see it. This is the idea, anyways. It's my idea. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm open to any feedback on it, but this is the idea for the sign. We wanted to advertise it as the world's largest Route 66 sign. As of right now, I don't know what the world's largest is exactly. I tried to research it. But the Route 66 Museum, I believe it's in Elk City. This is what their sign looks like, lit up at night. My guess is it's about 20 foot wide, 20 foot tall. My idea for this one would be about 25 foot tall, about 25 foot wide. Down there on that triangle, like I said, this is a somewhat an idea of what it would look like. And I think it would be nice if I could go, not on my own, and say, hey, I'm Andrew Stephenson, this is my idea. I don't want all the credit for it, I don't want all the responsibility for it. I like to say I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, coming to you guys as a going to a fabrication shop or going to somebody for donations, asking for some monetary support, because this could be, I don't have any estimates on it, but my guess on it would be possibly $5,000 by the time you pay for all the metal. And then also, this is an idea of another sign, but doing some lights around it, so it could be something that would be lit up at night, where people would draw traffic to downtown Wellston. And so this is just another idea along the highway. Maybe do some advertisement. World's largest Route 66 sign. I think that would draw a lot of traffic to a main street that doesn't have a lot of traffic coming down unless they're going to one specific place. And then maybe just another sign, kind of by the sign, saying this is World's largest Route 66 sign. Put like a social media hashtag on there, or it could get out there on Facebook, and maybe be an idea for people from Oklahoma City or Tulsa, either direction, to take a detour off of the highway and come downtown Wellston and visit the town.
I think with, if we can get designated with something like Oklahoma's largest, or even the world's largest 66 sign, it'll definitely, we've been talking about these turnpike signs. That would be one extra thing that we could go to Turnpike Authority and say, hey, this sets us aside from anybody else. We deserve this turnpike signage that says, get off the turnpike, come to downtown Wellston. The lighted part of it is key. We have to have it lit, because that's going to draw people down at night. That's going to help retail businesses and food establishments that will eventually come back to this area as we redevelop and boost economic development in the area. The town has got the funds to, we're going to prep the site, so we're going to put in parking for about 10 vehicles on the north side of that area. We're going to terrace it and put parking in, and take the trees out and prep the area for electric installation. So we're going to need to come together as a chamber, as businesses, and fund the art, the creation of the art. So one thing I know, your AFR has, your dad said AFR has about 500 they want to throw into it. I think that the chamber, we need to try to reach out with release that, and then start going to the businesses and and go from there. It shouldn't be too hard for us to reach that goal. But 6 months, I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna take us to raise the money, but we have 6 months to complete the grant side of the project, which is prepping the site. We'll knock that out pretty quick, so.
And that can only be used for the prepping, not.
Yeah, it's for, well, because the whole entire grant was like $20,000 and they have to split that between, everybody that applied for it. We got 2,700, so that's a stretch to get done what we wanna do down there prep wise, cause we gotta put in a parking area and terrace the parking, we have to cut into it and remove the trees, but a lot of it will be done with volunteer labor.
I have a question. So are you talking about the space right in front of the Church of Christ? Is it just pretty on one side? It's painted on one side.
The proposed piece of art,
Yes.
we could address both sides of it possibly. We don't want to block their. I know where you're going with
See
it.
where I'm going with it?
But they're kind of getting a trade-off too, because they're getting additional parking there that they can use on Sundays, which they have a problem. They don't have really good parking. So they'll get some access to new parking, and I think it would be an overall an improvement to the area. It'll be a place for people who aren't tickets, because they'll be able to see the other mural, they'll be able to look right downtown. Or we could handle some. We know some, that's some.
Hey,
painting.
welcome to my world.
But
So glad
unfortunately,
you
we
brought
can't
that
make
up,
that.
I was gonna
I
say.
think to secure it would be hard,
Yeah.
especially cost wise, because you have to put metal on the backside as well. It wouldn't be,
I think,
it's possible.
and I think, there are no plans set in stone yet for the design of the art, so we can work, if we need to bring an artist in, or somebody, an engineer, and talk about like what actually works when developing the sign, because I know the one that is out in is it El Reno or Up City? It's on a pole.
Right.
So, I don't know, that one probably is both sides. So, really, we're only limited by the funds we raise. Mike Snyder's already said he's gonna give $15,000. We'll have somebody who's matching.
Tom still isn't. Oh, shit. My bad, language.
Realistically though,
That fell right out.
we are just limited by what we can raise, and I think if we all come together for a project that'll.
I think it'd be good for our town to have it.
Thank you for coming up with that. It's a
Yes.
fantastic idea. Wish I thought of it. Does anybody have any questions?
It sounds like we got a goal for the chamber this year.
Are the lights gonna be something we need to be concerned about for residents?
You can do LEDs, and it shouldn't be a
It's
problem.
just gonna be. It
We might have to ask for that.
You know what that means?
I know, I think maybe get that, maybe. I don't know.
Andrew, do you know if there's any restrictions on how it is to actually look? When you redesign or repaint like a Coca-Cola sign, you have to really go by specs. They're really picky about how it's done. I just wondered about Route 66. Are they real picky about?
I honestly don't have any idea.
There's I think Route 66 is a public domain image.
In the mix?
That's what I don't think
It is,
it's
I mean,
trademark or anything on it.
It's not trademarked because it's zoned, it's.
Cause your sixes on there are not what they're different. Did you realize that?
Oh, no, well, I think that's just
Yeah,
conceptual.
that was-
Oh, okay.
That's not any
I
kind
showed
of.
you
That's
that.
not any kind of.
This means a final product.
The first
And
one
that
he
was
sent
a-
over to me was just a big square 66.
I made progress on it.
Okay.
He's getting there, got the shape down now.
I think it's, the first step is prepping the site, which the town's going to handle through the grant, and then our goal for a chamber and a group is to raise the funds to actually create this. this destination point to draw people downtown Wellston. I mean, that's a key for economic success of every business down here. We've got to get traffic pointed down this way. I mean, that's just, it's key. And the way to do that, we met with the Department of Commerce last week in the planning meeting, and, you know, the way to do that is just work and promote our community, and if we're gonna promote it, we need to have things to promote, so that's one step in the right direction.
One of the ways to raise money on that would be to make t-shirts. Help me to fund and for sure being more
Can we put another flagpole down there, John, and have like Oklahoma, the state flag and the American flag? Have it like on either side or something, and
We're limited by we're only limited by the amount of funds we raise, so absolutely, you know, we could have flags around all, I mean, yeah.
You know, that t-shirt idea is a really good idea.
And I know
We could
some
do like a
people-
Wellston, Oklahoma VR 66, with a giant sign.
Absolutely.
I know.
We heard, the lady from, Sapulpa, that did the Main Street, and she said one of the things that really, really sell whenever you, do these things for your map, is make sure it's about what's local, don't repeat something that somebody else is selling, never shop down the way.
Mhm.
Specific to what you have here, make it specific for Wellston. He said that sells really, really good. Cause everybody's got 66 stuff that they have in the little trinket shops and stuff like that. But the stuff that's unique to this place right here is what we're really selling.
I don't want to volunteer Dr. Palmer for anything, but if he could do a custom artwork on a shirt and we just replicate that, I mean, do like that might be a pretty good deal. I know he has some cool.
You know, but I would wanna put bullet holes in it.
I think it needs to be a red dirt color or something.
Distress.
Like the coffee company,
That's what
Coffee
we want.
Company, where they have on their Facebook their pictures of their t-shirts all over the
Oh, yeah.
all the travels.
Real quick, I bet, it's like we have those, we just had some guys in front of the shop the other day, they're doing Mustang wars, they're from New Zealand, like just running Mustang Street.
Yeah. That's like a really big, I mean, we see that, that's Corvettes and Mustangs.
And motorcycles are in
And
summer.
Yeah, and the Jeeps.
Do you think we'll be doing any car shows again sometime? Cause I think those are probably pretty good.
The car show was fun, I mean, that's,
The Jeep show was nice.
the Jeep show was very
Need to
nice.
redo that this year.
You got a lot of people in communities that are real into the car deal too, doing some clothes and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, as a parent, at Christmas party, we had, what, 5 or 6?
And that's something
that
that
was
we
cool.
can, you know, when we talk about the Deep Fork River Festival that we're wanting to try to get put together for this summer, that can be a part of that. You know, that's a part of the con festival, the big part of that is their car show. And we have the resources to reach out and promote that.
Do we have any concerns of where the signage on 66 is gonna go? Have we had problems in the past with where we can put signage?
No, this grant is actually from the Department of Transportation, so if they have a problem with the sign, I'm gonna tell them, you gave us the money to do it. No, so, no, and that is, so that piece of land is actually, it's our right of way, it's the town of Wellston's right of way, public easement or whatever. And the Department of Transportation, they raised us with the plan.
Now, are you asking about the actual sign in town, or are you talking about the ones that would be out on the
I'm talking about
turnpike and
ones
that kind of
Oh,
stuff?
the ones on the turnpike,
You have to get those.
yeah, we would have to get those
Signs like
approved.
this.
Me and Jake have been talking about these turnpike signs. I did some research on this several years back, and I wanna recall, there's the Turnpike Authority has some pretty strict regulations about where they will put signs advertising businesses off of the turnpike. It has to be, the business has to be within so many miles of the turnpike exit, it has to be in a population center of so many. But things have changed at the state administrative level within tourism and within promoting Route 66. And I think we're in a position now that we could go and challenge that rule. And we have some legislative support behind us. And then with also the creation of the Deep Fork District, we can, really push to get that done. So we got to reach back out to Turnpike. There's a big project coming up in Wellston, so it'd be a good time to do it, so that they can include that in there.
Any other questions about it? Alright. Business arising from previous minutes, we have committee volunteers are always needed. I do have sign-up sheets over here. Even if you signed up for one last year, I would like, everybody to re-sign up so we know exactly what you're, willing to help with this year. Two, we need to form a committee instead of date, to form the policy and procedures for the use of the square and market buck coins for the chamber and the farm and craft market, as well as updating the main policies and procedures for the Chamber of Commerce. I know we had talked about in November, setting that in February, but we need to get an actual hard date and time down so we can get together and get that done. And what that will do, it's not gonna automatically be, that committee will write it all, and then we will bring it to the chamber, and we'll review it, as a chamber, and we'll vote on it, the changes to be brought into the actual chamber bylaws. But it does need to be done.
And I believe some of the changes, like we're going to put into policy the scholarships.
The
So
scholarships.
there's no question about what that procedure for giving the scholarships are.
And going
Seems like
forward.
over the past few years, it's been,
Every year we,
well, we do it this way, or we do it that way, so.
and there's a lot of outdated stuff in there too that we need to change. Marcia has changed quite a bit already, given us this, given us an idea of what needs to be changed, and, so it won't be hard. The actual, only thing that will be new change will be the adding in the square and stuff for the use at the market, and the bucks for, hopefully those coins will
This is
get,
the original from 1994.
so it does need to be updated. Does anybody have,
I will volunteer to, create a form, or create I'll rewrite it and present it. Your-
Cause he has so much time.
But you have to review it.
that we just have to review, but we need to add in for the policy procedures for all of this in the market books. We want it all revised.
Do we
at the
have a
same
policy
time.
written for that yet?
That's what we're saying, we need that written.
So, I can put some time aside for writing that.
Writing that and to add to it, so that.
And then do we need a policy for the scholarship?
Scholarship as well. So it's uniform every year.
Along that line, are you still planning on using, taking Wicked Snap?
Yes, that's what the market bucks are for, so we have everything in place, that way when it's started, we can.
That workshop,
I'll get with you.
And she just went to a workshop
yeah,
too.
she just went to one, but
Yes.
the next one, you know that or not?
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see.
You don't have your snack machine.
Do,
Do we have, policy procedures for the,
for the market itself, you do, okay.
so then those actually need to be written into that policy procedure, not into.
Yeah, we can see the draft them up, so we can have all that, I would like to have them all by February.
No, I take back what I said.
Oh, I don't want you to do it all by yourself, so. Yeah. Yeah, Marcia said she would help, so.
But,
So we will get those and hopefully have those in February's meeting for everybody to review and vote on, adopt and everything in. Their Christmas parade was held on December 14th. The chili cook-off had 2 contestants, Citizen Snyder and Sierra Stephenson. 50 hams were purchased and given out immediately following the parade. Stephenson Insurance made the donation back to the chamber to cover the cost of the hams. So we appreciate that, and I've told him thank you many times. The Beretta semi-auto camel shotgun and matching case winner was Jimmy Walker. We sold $1,235 in tickets, giving us a profit of around $400 on that. The chamber purchased 2 canopies for the use at our events. They are being stored in the back room of the town hall currently with all of our other chamber supplies. The farmers market committee, I'll let Lachelle talk to you, but one thing that is exciting, John was able to talk with about the commuter lot, and they are going to allow us to use it this year for. So if it is raining, we don't have to worry about it being on grass and dirt and everybody not being able to park and stuff. So it'll be really nice.
Visibility.
Now, right there across from Monkey, and there's so many people that come through there, so, yeah, it'll be really nice. And then, what,
Okay, I'm Michelle Stanley, the market manager. In December, I went to farmer's market manager training, and it was about how to start your market and the importance of having rules and regulations and marketing, ways to do marketing. And that was the big deal, learning the rules for like the state rules, the Home Baking Act, and what you can sell to the market and what you can't. So I got some really good ideas on doing more advertising besides just depending on Facebook. We need more than one outlet. And having I'd like to do a sweet seed swap in the beginning of March. And I think that'd also be a good time to do a vendors meeting to go over the rules with everybody. And then the 11th of February, there's a state farmers market agritourism, I always say that wrong, conference. That would all be at New York.
February 11th? Is there a cost of that one?
No, it's free, but registration was free. Yeah. The first day it'll be registration.
Yes. As far as the fundraising committee, I know it's a little bit out, but if we don't start talking about it now, we might not get to it. I had an idea of doing, for Mother's Day, doing chocolate covered strawberries or something along that line. We would do them here, and they could pick them up. That weekend is also alumni weekend. A lot of people will be in town. They can pick them up on that Saturday morning as they're here for that. I don't know, I was just throwing it out there for an idea. Trying to give us a little, something else to raise some funds.
My daughter did that once, as a fundraiser, alcohol, and it was really good.
Well, I just figured for Mother's Day.
And she did it for Valentine's, but, I did
Yeah,
Mother's Day.
not to pick on any of the, husbands and dads out there, but they won't have to worry about going to shop for it. They can call us up and order, and we would only do, we could do a few extra orders but we would only make up what is sold. So if we sell 20 dozen, that's how we're making kind of deal. That way we're not out any additional money that's gonna be wasted, because the strawberries aren't gonna last long. And we basically would meet here, the ones that wanted to help prepare them and do it Friday night and put them in the fridge. I'll be here Saturday morning, or somebody, there'll be plenty of people around town, so we can get them handed out to everybody.
How many people do you guys have on the fundraising committee?
I don't think
None.
Okay,
Good job.
yeah,
Michael, too, also, I just want to, if you're talking about, selling the strawberries up down here Alumni Weekend, usually, this is reserved. So I'm just kinda throwing that out there, I mean, if you,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
cause I do the calendar at work for the whole year, and people will start calling, and people will reserve it, so if you're wanting it, you need to say now, so I
If we
can say it's
pass
already
it.
taken.
I mean, if we get it.
So, where, you want to, like, make them here?
Well, yeah, cause they have long counters and everything. I don't know, unless somebody has another space that has a place where we can heat up the chocolate and dip them and.
Jake?
can I,
Use y'all's place?
Okay.
I mean, I don't care, I just wanted to throw that out there,
Yeah,
because it will,
That's a good
it
idea.
will get
Not
reserved.
Usually,
if-
well, that gives lets it be rented out too and not
Yes.
just taken from.
Because they'll start calling him the next couple months to reserve all this in May and stuff, so.
So if we're ones that couldn't hear, Jake said that we can use their place if we decide to do it. They have a big commercial refrigerator in the back, so it'll actually hold a lot more than that little one over there anyways.
I think it's a really good idea, because the value added for dipping them is pretty tremendous, and
No, I mean, usually, like $15 to $18 for a dozen,
and
easy.
the other thing I was thinking of flowers, but even if we got them at cost, the strawberries are still a better idea.
What do you put them in? Like, how do you?
We just bought, like,
The-
we used pie boxes, is what we used, we bought,
Yeah.
and you can buy, we already had pie boxes, cause she also made pies and sold those, but you can buy the shallower, boxes at that.
You just find out which ones will hold a
Right,
dozen,
a
which one will hold
dozen. And-
six, you know,
We
and
charge $20 a dozen, is what we
Yeah.
charged,
so,
I mean, we could even do so with like a little cellophane wrapper with a little
Right.
pie on the top, right?
right?
yeah.
That's what we sold them.
And people will buy them all day long. You go to the city, they're a lot more than that.
I would say with the other arrangements or anything else, it's $40.
Or a dozen. Yeah.
No, you gotta get the big.
You gotta get those
You gotta get the big ones, and
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
dip them, and
You
people
started
will pay
that
for it.
business. That's good,
But I mean, one thing about it is that if none of them sell, we're not at anything, cause we're gonna, we'll stop selling a week prior. And say that
Yeah.
all orders have to be in a week prior to it, and we will make up what is sold.
Do you need a motion on that?
Are we gonna make him pay prior to it, or are they paying when they pick him up?
Well, we have so many different ways of paying now, we have the square and stuff, I think they can pay us
Okay.
that way. They need the orders be in and paid for before we make them.
Yes.
I got the little one for $26.
Those cost more.
Those are $30.
And they will be in an egg carton, see, later.
Debbie's gonna split the cost. I'll make a motion that we, do the chocolate covered strawberry fundraiser for Mother's Day.
All in favor? All opposed? And Jake and Grace, thank you again for letting us use your place. Yeah. And as we get, I'll keep it on the agenda, that way we don't forget about it, rolls off and all of us get busy. We will need to talk about, once we get closer, how many people it's gonna take. And we'll know by what we sell too. If we only sell a few dozen, then just a couple of us can probably get down there and do it. But if we sell a bunch, like we hope to, then we might need, all hands on deck for that, to get it done quickly. As far as the social events, I listed out everything, I don't have to really go over it, but Easter is one that I don't wanna put on the back burner, cause we always seem to wait till the last second, and then I feel like we're rushed, so Easter this year falls on April 12th, we will hold the event on the 11th. I would like to do ideas of the face painting again, if Dr. Palmer and maybe one more of his artists would be willing to do that again. I know that went over very well.
Yeah, you can put us down.
Okay. do the egg hunt, the prize eggs. We had last year, we did $5 per egg. If we have someone donate that money, if it's more than the $5, well, that's why I said $5 to $10, cause I'll ask some businesses for, donations. That's what we're doing with it, it's candy, and, we'll need, I'd like for everybody as members to bring candy, and eggs, cause I know this last year, a lot of the eggs didn't make it back to us. In years prior, we kinda, I think, no, we have some.
I thought we threw them away because they were just.
Well, we threw a bunch away before but I know we did here at the chamber, we did 1,000 eggs, and I bought 500 more and did them at home myself. And we could easily put out another 500 for, cause you're talking, that's 4 different categories of age groups that you're putting out there for, so. It sounds like a lot, but once you put it out there on a football field, it really doesn't look like a lot. So really,
Did we have a pretty good turnout? Cause I know.
we had a really good turnout. We had a really good turnout. I know that from being there last year that we don't need to be there as early as what we were, but, because we got there at 8 and, everything was done by 8:30 and we were sitting around for an hour and a half, but, I would like to have, the fire trucks back up again. The kids love that.
Do you have Easter bunny?
We have an Easter bunny. If,
I would do it.
Is that your?
Andrew,
You have it?
I think, yeah, because
Your sister.
your niece wore it, cause your niece ended
Oh,
up
no,
being-
that's, Charlie and Renee's Easter bunny outfit, isn't it? I
Yes,
think it is. I
yes,
think
it
it's
is,
Charlie.
that's right. So, we do have one. Do you think that she'd be willing to wear it again this year? She fit it perfectly. It was great, so most of the kids loved that. Some of them were scared, but, for the most part, they enjoyed that. And I would like to do something a little more this year, maybe as we get closer, we can start talking about something we can do to, it seemed like the hunt's over and they're done, and they just leave. Well, the hunt doesn't take 2 hours to do that, so I would like to do something a little more with them, maybe come up with some games, or, put them in the sacks and let them do, races or something. Sack races. Yeah, just have it more of, it just seemed kind of mundane. The parents showed up and they let their kids go out there and quickly grabbed everybody up and left. I mean, I'd be willing to set up my camera and take pictures with the Easter bunny and
Maybe get a food truck out there, or a
Yeah.
couple food trucks.
something, just,
Maybe get some small prizes together for those little like sack races that do egg
Yeah,
bombs,
we've
and
got
stuff
it.
like that.
Yeah, that stuff is minimal, but, so,
Yeah.
I just would like to
They
have
used to-
it
Where I'm from, they used to have a little deal like that, and they would have the kids put spoons in their mouth and carry an egg on them, and have them do the little race where they kept the egg on the
just
spoon.
something like that, just to get something to give us a little bit more, and then obviously, last year was a little more than we've had before, cause,
They also
fall-
did
fall
some
into-
egg painting and egg coloring things up there that, those little dye kits are cheap and easy to do, or paint.
And have like prizes if for who wins or something?
Oh,
Yeah, just.
something else, and this doesn't necessarily have to go with Easter, it can, just an idea for fundraising. Luther's doing this and has been for a while, which, take it for what it's worth, can mock it, can take it, and tweak it, or whatever. They are, and have been, taking rocks, and a family pays so much and you go and you paint these rocks. And they have, in the town, started making a rock garden. The bigger rocks obviously are more, it's not a lot more, but they are paving stones to a walk to this big rock garden. They've made,
In their Veterans Park, isn't it? Right there.
that's the
downtown.
next place that they're starting it. This is actually at the school right now,
Oh,
is where it's starting. The intent is to expand down to the veterans deal down by
Do you have
the
any
police
idea on
station.
the pricing?
It ranges anywhere from, it depends on the size of rocks, anywhere from like $1 to $20 for a paving stone. I mean, and they're good sized paving stones. So it's something that would be a forever thing, and it's something really cool for kids,
That's,
families.
you know, we've kind of lost track of the chamber, is the memorial bricks.
I know, we need to.
And that just, the thought of that.
That was another thing
That's
I was
a,
gonna
that's a
ask you about.
fundraising opportunity there, because we make some money off those brick sales, but
Well, and I was just thinking the other day, I need to
Pretty
get
much
my name
full
put on
in one
that
walkway.
veterans deal, and I have no idea who to contact, where, because there's a
We'll
lot of
get-
veterans in this
You'll
community.
get word on that this year.
There's a lot of veterans in this community that don't have their name up there,
over here on our,
yeah,
Yeah.
so. I don't know,
That's
it's
a
just
good
an
idea.
idea.
It's a really good idea, cause it's nominal for those rocks, and then people love doing it.
Yeah.
Especially if we were gonna give them to the rock garden, like you said, and they'll.
Well, and we have so many of those river
And we can
rocks,
keep all
river
those bricks out that
stones,
old building.
and that
We
people are
could've
trying to
sold.
haul off and get rid of. Put out a bulletin, hey, you wanna haul off your rocks, bring them here. You know, and we can sell them out and decide where we wanna put the garden.
that works, they fall apart.
Alright, on to new business, session action on officer nomination and appointments. We will do them in order. Current president is myself. These are all how this works for anybody that hasn't been here before. It is opened up to everybody to nominate someone or someones, and then we will take a vote, and the highest number of votes gets it.
Do we have a list of, is everyone here? So, businesses, you have one vote, individuals is an individual vote, so.
If there's more than one person you're representing, a family or a business, you only get one vote towards it. Not, I don't know, I know there's no everybody here.
No.
That's paid, that paid last year. Oh, we got a question. No, we've said, T said it's one, correct? Yeah, and they were, yeah. So for the most part. All right, so we'll open up the floor for president nominations.
I would nominate Michael DeMorse to continue his role as president of the chamber for the 2020 year. All in favor?
Yep. The vice president currently is John Cobb, and was speaking with John. He is going to be, continuing to be an active member, but is going to step out of the nomination for vice president this year. So, with that in mind, I would like to nominate Candy Malpris for, if she'll take it.
I would second
Any other nominations? All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. All right, and on treasurer, last year it was treasurer secretary broke out. Technically by our bylaws, they're supposed to be together, so we're going to put them back together this year. And speaking with Marcia has been gracious to do this for many years for us. Again, she's gonna be an active member as much as ever, but she would like to step out of the nomination running this year for that position. And I would like to nominate Melissa, and I'm sorry, I did not know.
McCully.
McCully, that's right. I knew that. So,
M&M's.
so for that position.
Second.
Any other nominations for the vote? All in favor? All opposed? Congratulations.
Before you move on, I just want to graciously thank Marcia
Yes.
Valleywag
Yes.
for 14 years as an officer. For the
And she's still gonna be doing, like our, logs for our memberships and keeping all of that in line, cause there's a lot that still goes in with that too, so.
very gracious.
Yep, she is. Yeah, yeah, on the money, no.
Well, hold
on the
I need to make
minutes.
a note.
The money.
On people that were elected to officer positions, you will need to, sign paperwork at the bank, so Michael can get that stuff.
I'll let you know as soon as we have to have a copy of the agenda and a copy of the minutes, and then I will take it down and let them know, and they'll prepare all the paperwork. I'll let you know when it's ready, and then you can just stop by and sign it. But keep in mind, not any rush, but once it's there, we can't sign any new checks out until that is changed.
You just gotta stop by and sign a signature card.
We have two signatures required.
Per check, so.
Per check, so that's why all the officers have to sign.
Now, on the next one, the membership dues, are $25 for an individual and $50 for a business. We have the ability to take check, square, anything, cash, however you wanna do it.
We'll be stationed at the door.
Yeah, you cannot leave until, no. But no, we just wanted to make that available that way, cause some people were like, well, we don't carry cash with us, or, we don't carry our checks on us, so
There you go.
we make that available to y'all as well. And yes, and I've already got yours made, I just gotta get it in the mail, so it'll be in the mail tomorrow. And then, on the next one, the discussion on forming a committee for the D-Fork, and I put district, but it's supposed to be D-Fork River Festival, setting the meeting dates, times, and locations. This is not going to be something that is gonna be able to be covered at our monthly meetings. We will cover it each month, but there's so much planning that's gonna go on in this to make this successful. If you talk with, we're talking with the lady that runs the Luther one, it's pretty much as soon as it is over, you're planning the next year. And we're behind the eight ball because we're starting this and we're wanting to have it in June, so we really need to get moving on it. So probably at least 1 to 2 per month, until we get going down and get this first one over with. Once we get the first year under our belts, then we'll know what we're doing and how to do it better the next year, so.
So I would like to sit on that committee.
Yes.
But we have some really good momentum behind this festival. OG&E has donated $2,000 to start planning this event. So we have commitment from Thomas Tillison to provide a large prize for this event and possibly ground to do it. I know we can get with Mike, because you were integral in the pastor party planning of that. I'd like, we need to work together and really make something big happen here. We have the opportunity, we're behind well, like Michael said, getting it going, but if we can make a really good effort of this for June, I think we can really turn it into a year after year event that draws thousands of people to Wellston.
One, on that
We're gonna
note,
get
like,
after it.
like Bobby Stephenson said when we first talked about doing it last year, he said even if we draw the first year, we draw 500 people.
Right.
Could you imagine what this town would look like with 500 people
Be crazy.
downtown all at once?
Mhm.
I mean, we haven't had that in many years, since that used to happen all the time on the weekends, but, that's been a long time ago. So we wanted, what was their total last year?
14,000 people in Luther, Oklahoma. It was insane.
When do they
do theirs?
In October,
November.
or November, yeah.
So we're doing ours in June because it's gonna be around, we're probably gonna have a fishing tournament and stuff like that, so that's gonna be prime time for.
And it'll be opposites of their, so we're not competing with them, we're not really competing with,
We don't wanna compete
like the
with
Chamber
these,
Crawfish Festival, theirs is in, or the Chandler Crawfish thing, it's in April. It looks like if you look at events in the area, June is a pretty good time for us to do this.
I may do that, let me check on some
Okay.
things, we've got,
Tonka Ranch already has concerts.
the end of June, we've got that going on.
Oh, that's right, you're doing the iHeart. This is the first weekend of June though. So, and I'm not, you might, not necessarily commit, but some of the knowledge of how you help set that. And you have,
Wanting to do a concert?
what's that?
Are you wanting to do
We
it?
would like to do one, I don't know.
I
I don't know what the first year.
I don't think the first year
The first year is gonna be really hard, but
Do we
would
have
like
access to that kind of money?
We're
I mean,
building.
the one we're doing up here
No.
costs us over $400,000.
No.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
no.
but we did Joe
That's what I'm
Diffie-
saying.
We
No.
did Joe Diffie down here for less than 10,
Right.
you know?
Never
Well, I
thought
think-
with that one.
So I think honestly, like a budget for this first is gonna be about 10,000. I think we'll
If
be
you
able
get
to raise
there,
that
we probably
between
get
private
somebody, I mean.
partnerships.
That's
It
gonna
won't be the
for
level
that'll
that
be
we
for
have.
the whole event though.
It
so-
won't be the
Right.
level that I hold up there, but,
No.
I mean, we can get another,
But we've talked about doing like a mud run, cause those,
we brought
really
6,000 people in for that one show.
Mhm.
that's.
That's our goal in the future, is to have it a weekend deal, like
I don't-
it's the whole weekend.
I mean, I don't think we could get to that in
In
5 months.
No.
We have a lot of support from the Luther people though,
But only
But Dawn is gonna come over and help us, with the marketing plan for it, because she's done, I mean, she's phenomenal.
You could get it done. I mean, we can make a couple phone calls and see who's available. You know, if that's.
I mean, that would
It
be
doesn't
cool
even
to
have to
have,
be-
it doesn't have to be anybody big, but somebody big enough. to
Well, you're not
draw.
gonna get anybody big. I mean, you're gonna get somebody like Joe Diffie, somebody that you can pick up for less than 10 grand.
Well, we're talking probably like our entire first year budget, we're probably.
But there's a lot of like local artists that have really big followings. I used to
But
work in
that's
a
it, yeah.
bar, and I mean, we would pack people.
You get the
out
one act and then you get all the local people.
Yeah, they go local.
You know, you can talk to Brad and whatnot, get the Red Dirt guys out here, and what have you. I mean, we've got the contacts for that. The food vendors, they paid to come.
Yeah,
You're gonna get them to go.
even bringing Brad and some other locals would bring pretty good, I mean, it wouldn't bring
And the
7,000.
food trucks pay, I mean, they
The
paid
food
for the
trucks paid
spot.
paid for the spot. Instead of doing a percentage of the sales, you
So-
know, that particular year, we paid for the spot.
So we definitely need to talk.
We need to have and the reason why we wanna set the dates for, we
At
can
least
set an
February,
initial
March.
committee meeting in February. That way we can start really putting all these plans together and come up with a master plan for the event, and then start checking off all the stuff as we lead up to it. So I don't know
What works.
What are we doing here? Are you looking for committee members at this
Yes.
point?
Yes, and setting the dates
This
for
one,
the
we're setting the
initial.
Let's do one thing at a time here, let's get
Okay.
some committee members and then let's set a date.
Alright, so I'm gonna write down for myself.
Yeah, put me and Mike on there.
Candy,
Corey?
or she'll keep us in line.
Maybe.
Commander over there.
Yes.
So, yes, I got it.
Andrew.
And, Mom.
I hope give me a war drill, sergeant.
Yeah, that's fine. Bob, you'll be on our committee.
Maybe.
Come on, Bob.
What is volunteer?
Just
yet?
put me down.
What
I
is-
don't know what else to do.
That's 9 right there.
That's a big commitment.
That's a big
That's
commitment.
good.
So, well, we're
How
gonna need
many?
it. And then when we get there, it's gonna be, we'll
Divide
need
and
as many people as possible on hand because,
Like this.
Yeah, you go take care of music.
Lila, we need every member possible that day to run, or that.
And there's-
End up running it.
We'll need, if it's an event where we're projecting 1,500, we'll need to bring in a security plan of,
Yep.
you know, all that.
Parking plan,
Parking.
trash plan.
Trash.
I mean, it goes on and on, light out units, I mean,
Nice thing is we have resources at the county that can help us out. Lincoln County Emergency Management's good, they help out with this Tonka festival and.
they set up back there when we did the field work.
Yeah.
Well,
So
thank,
what day
thank
is
you.
it?
Now, I mean, we're pretty wide open as far as, obviously, you can't be the 24th, cause that's our next month. I would like to have it pretty quick, the initial one, so if anybody's available, like the 3rd.
That's a
February.
week,
Huh?
a week from today.
I understand that.
I would be available for that one.
I got a kiddo coming, so.
Well, I know.
So our 9 just went to.
Well, yeah, I'll be over
I
here.
can be here on
Monday.
the 3rd.
Yeah.
I can be here on the 4th.
Would a different day of the week be better? Tuesdays?
We,
Oh, cause you're here.
I can't do anything.
Yeah, and I understand that.
we can't do Tuesday or Friday.
Okay.
I can't do anything that first week of February.
Legion meeting's the 10th,
And we have cemetery board meeting
on the 6th.
6th.
And board meeting 13. What about,
So, can we do, or you can't do?
No, the 13th board meeting's been moved to the
That's
20th.
right.
what about the 12th?
I can do the 12th.
You do 12?
I can do 12.
Do the 12th?
Sign us up,
I'm good.
sign us up for the 12th.
That's a week and a half
Wednesday.
off of that, you think?
Bring the baby.
As long as the baby's here,
Volunteer.
Yeah. he still has to bring the baby,
has to bring the
okay?
baby.
If she's here,
At what time?
That's President Lincoln's birthday.
6 or
I don't know.
6:30
we
or?
wanna do 6:30, what are we thinking? What would be best for everybody?
5?
5? I mean,
Probably
really,
5,
5,
somewhere around
5:30,
Can we do
6.
5 o'clock? Or you-
5, yeah, that way you can get, okay.
Wednesday, 12th, would 5 work for everybody? I mean, we're gonna, yeah, we'll do it here.
I'm gonna do 2, try to do 2 months, so if you can't make.
It's not,
Tentatively, can you?
well, let's put it this way. We'll be here for a little while, cause the first one's probably gonna take a little bit, so.
When in June are you wanting to do it?
Flying month.
It's the first week.
First weekend in June.
So it'd be the 6th of
Yeah.
June is the.
Saturday the 6th.
6 and 7.
And we
Yeah.
talked, we talked to you about maybe a 2, even a 2-day.
2-day deal, so 6 and 7.
That's a full moon weekend, so it'd be a really good one.
Bring all the praises.
Perfect.
And
So
we'll-
are we going with
At
5
2
o'clock
We'll
on
do it.
12th?
Yes, 5 o'clock on 12.
It's our first year. Yeah.
We're gonna go for a 2-day festival?
We're gonna talk.
Go big or go
We're gonna
home.
talk about it, so. We're gonna tentatively set the 12th at 5 o'clock here. If you're coming from work at 5 and you need to be here, at 5:30, we'll be here, so.
Yes.
And we'll talk, the 2-day thing, cause we had thrown ideas about like a fishing tournament and stuff like that, and so you could do, like Saturday is the beginning, and Sunday is the checkout and weigh-in, so.
The whole event wouldn't run, just certain portions of it.
We got a lot of polishing to do.
Yeah. And we will hold it here unless I don't see anywhere else to hold it.
Okay, so
We don't have to have an action.
did you not do a discussion?
Not, well, cause that's.
No, we just need discussing it.
Yeah. Okay, now, the next one is where, talking about about the Route 66 sign comes into play. Discussion action on donating money to the town of Wellston for the construction of a Route 66 sign to be placed in the triangle across from the car wash. This will be, we need to talk about the amount that we would like to do if we want to do anything. When does that need to
Well,
a certain time frame to get that to you,
if we can commit to, AFR, it said Bob said 500 is what I think, is that right? So if we can match it, the chamber can match that, that'll get us started in the right direction.
well, I was kinda thinking too, that just to throw out some deals that, we had already committed to buying the hams and stuff last year for the parade, and we got those reimbursed. So some of that just kinda, we had already kind of talked about spending that money anyway, so I think it's gonna be great for our community. In the long run, it's gonna bring more business down here, so I think the chamber ought to be donating to it.
I would encourage them, if we're gonna do money, I would suggest that we do something like the t-shirts or something that,
Yes.
if we're gonna invest money in it, we need to do
I've
something that's gonna bring back money.
I've got someone that can do the t-shirts, pretty much the cost, so I will try to talk to her and see what we can come up with for number wise.
Are we talking today, deciding?
That's why I was saying,
I
when
would
do
say,
you
we
want
need
the-
I would like
I would
to
like
see
a
a commitment
commitment.
up from the chamber to say, we will monetize $500.
Or 1,000,
And
whatever
then
it
Or
is.
1,000, what,
We could
I would-
do the
Yes.
proceeds
Yeah.
from other
Yes.
fundraisers.
Yeah.
because we're gonna need, really, $10,000 is a nice fundraising goal for this project. And we can raise that, if we have to do this in several stages, that's fine, but, $1,000 is a great place to start. That means, we have prep of the area set up, then we got $1,000 toward creating the art piece, and we have not even started going to the businesses yet. to
So we
ask
have,
for-
we have 6 months from now to have it done?
No, 6
or-
months from now, just to
the
prep
land,
the site.
just the
Okay,
land.
okay.
So the grants for prepping the site for the installation.
So I don't know anybody up here for anything about this sign, but back where I am from, the small towns of about 30 minutes south of Tulsa, I know a bunch of people that own prefab shops, metalworking, that type of stuff, and one of my stepfathers was a welder, so I may be able to make some calls to see, but I need to kinda get with you to see what the goal is for what you're wanting. And I can, if you wanna call and talk to him, I can get you that info.
There's some around Wellston, I haven't even approached them about it, but it would be nice if.
I agree,
Local businesses-
I agree, if the locals would do it, that would be great, but if it's us forking up $2,500 versus me driving it down to
Right.
where I'm from to have it done cheap, then let's do that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I agree, local, it should come local.
It could be maybe some artistic, maybe a big cutout metal sign, like it's cut out.
That's what I was thinking, what if you shadow it with those lights in the middle, have it cut out, do the both
Well, see,
sides.
as we kind of move along this project, really, maybe even one that's cut out of metal with the lights all in it.
That's, I think that would be really cool. Do it double sided.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I don't know what he charged, but I'm telling you, you'd be hard pressed to find the best.
Because the one out there, is it painted?
Point of clarity, who owns the sign? Town of Wellston or the chamber?
No, it'd be.
The town.
Town of Wellston.
Wellston Lawn. So, my thoughts on it are is that we need to do an initial, commitment of $500. And we will try to do, fundraisers for that specifically. We will obviously give the proceeds to that, cause that's what we'll be raising it for. And then if what need be, if there's we're $500 short or something, we can come back to the chamber at a later date and say, would we be willing to commit more? But our initial commitment, I would propose that we do $500 upfront commitment right now.
I make a motion to
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'd like to add a second motion then at that point to create a committee for this.
For the sign itself?
For the sign itself.
So like do the fundraising outside it?
To focus on the fundraising
Getting the
and
money
getting
and-
the money
Money.
and the design in place.
Will fall under the funding maybe? I mean, do you wanna be on it?
Your idea.
I don't necessarily wanna be on the fundraising committee, but I might be willing to be on the sign committee.
Okay.
It'll fall under the fundraising for the group, so
That was the reason why I needed to clarify who owns it.
the town law.
It'll fall under the town's liability.
Yeah, the town's property, yeah.
So,
How big is the sign?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
Can
this,
be
this is the town's.
Right.
But we
But the
just-
chamber bigger than, cities.
So hopefully we can get all of the rest of the outside funding to get the sign and the, whatever the lights and whatever we need to do to make it, I want it to be nice.
So, does anybody have a second for his motion and form a committee for the sign?
I don't know that we can do, it's not on here. Would it fall under it, or?
We have to schedule.
Oh,
We're a little stricter than the Legion.
Although there's something down here that says, remember you guys comments.
You know what?
It's,
Well, we can add it, yes,
You know, under new,
And
we have new business?
yes.
You just can't make a
General,
motion on it.
under general business.
Under general business, we'll let you bring it up.
Now, we're still gonna have Palmer try to draw up a design or something for the t-shirts or something?
Yeah, we'll get,
Yeah,
we'll get with him.
Okay.
I heard it doesn't draw very well.
It would be cool if we had a mock-up of the sign.
He'll just have us make
on there.
copies
That's
Yeah.
what we're gonna.
Really good if you can hide your mistakes.
You could have like on the back of it say, I helped Wellston go big or go
He has to
home.
let JD step in every now and then. Okay, on, E, discussion action on waiving our membership fees for the Red Dirt Art Gallery, which would cover Bob, Homer, and JD Poplin, and also for Westway Enterprises for Mike and Sissy Snyder.
For some back information, we donated land and art for signs for the chamber, so they brought us memberships. I make a motion to approve. All in favor?
All opposed? Michelle? Yeah, Michelle. Okay, under general business, we're going to go with,
Corey's.
What?
I rescind it.
Why? Rescind it?
You guys wanna put it into the fundraising committee, and that, the
well, it's,
discussion of the.
I mean, it's fine, but I see what you're saying, because.
Well, that way it's
specific
focused
sec-
and
it's
targeted.
Well,
focused.
that way you have people that's going out and just, I mean, I think it's, yeah.
I think it's a great idea, so we can put it under general business, so.
I would-
let's
If I
do
make
it.
a motion to create the roadside
That was
fundraiser.
John's idea.
You can second it, Corey.
Sucker.
Corey and John.
And Corey is the
Corey
chairman.
made the motion.
That's part of the motion.
There you go, problem, that one's.
And then-
Oh, yeah, well,
Okay,
yeah.
so we got the second, now all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I'll make another, cause I don't have that, obviously being a new committee, I don't have a form for that, so I will have it here. But if you want to be on it, just know that, be here at least next month's meeting, so we can write you down and get you started. And you don't necessarily have to wait till the meeting to, if you have ideas on where to get the fundraising from,
Run with it.
run with it. If you show up with money, we're not gonna turn it down.
Do you wanna self-fund the project?
Yeah. We know you
Like I'm
can.
self-funding the Legion?
Alright, membership update, obviously being the first one, we have like 4 paid members. I'll just say again, we do ask to try to get those in as quick as possible. For one thing it does, you, after tonight, you don't have power of vote again until you pay. So if you wait till June, that you only get 6 months to vote, so.
If anybody wants to pay their dues after the meeting.
Yep.
I won't be here.
And we have any, member and guest comments?
Imagine that.
Okay.
Joe knows a little bit about this, and I really don't know what he has in mind, but prior to Christmas, at the Cowboy Hall of Fame, I met with George Nye. And George Nye has been pushing, every time I run into him, he says, how many murals have you painted? And I always say, I really don't know, George. He said, well, you need to count them up. And he said, when you reach a milestone, we need to do some kind of celebration. And I told George, I said, the mural I did in Wellston was 3,500. And he said, we need to do something to celebrate that. And I got a hold of him just about a week ago, and he said, let's talk with your town people and let's tag on to something that you're already doing, because he said, we want to do a celebration. And he said, I said, George, I can't do a celebration, but you can, you know. So I don't know what he has in mind, but I'm just sharing that with you so that we can kind of put our heads together and see if it can fit into something else, because you're the one where I made about, you know, I did 35 and I am way tired. But anyway, that,
3,500 more.
Yeah, but I told him, I said, I think my math is correct, and that was 3,500.
I think it would be really cool if we could do something to honor him at the depot.
Yes.
That would be the perfect time to do it.
At the what?
The Deep River Festival? Can we put it out that far? Does everybody know who George Nye is?
I was thinking Bill Nye, the science guy,
Isn't he a governor?
but I remember his name
Former
before.
Oklahoma governor.
Former. Yes.
But Wellston, we can do anything. He wants to do something.
We were talking
Well,
about
that's
that.
okay, that's what how quickly we need to do this.
Somehow. That's a really good idea. You're talking about
12. Yes.
Oh, paint run, the Bob Palmer paint run.
Body painting?
No. Yes, you have to pay
It sounds
every.
like
It is kind of like.
Yeah, the color run.
It's color run, but we call
You
it.
know, I've
Bob
seen
Palmer.
those.
They're really popular.
They look like they get in your eyes.
That's a good idea.
No, Luther School did it.
Yeah.
Her elementary school did it last year. It was awesome.
Was it?
Yes. They made
They're
a lot
a
of money.
big deal, they bring a lot of
They bring a
people.
lot of people, yeah.
They didn't let the parents run, but if you would, it would have brought a ton of money.
Food colors in our sport game.
So we can just start working that in. I have, surprisingly, I have something else to say.
Yeah, imagine that.
The Wellston Public Schools has a bond issue that's going up for election on February 11th. If you live in the Wellston School District, this is something important for the school. It's $700,000 in building upgrades and repairs, and $160,000 for 2 new school buses. That vote is on February 11th. If you live in the Wellston School District, this will replace a bond that is about to expire, so it's not going to increase your ad valorem rates or your property tax rates. And then also in April, the town of Wellston special sales tax, it's a ½ cent that's already in place, it's not a new tax, will be up for vote for renewal. That ½ cent 1/4 of that half cent goes to the senior nutrition program. 1/2 cent of it goes to the Wellston Cemetery. 1/4 of that half cent goes to the fire department. And then the other 1/4 of that half cent goes to parks, recreation, and tourism promotion for the town of Wellston, which putting some money aside to promote tourism in our town will go a long way to increasing the business at every one of our retailers. So if you can share that with your friends that live in Wellston, to vote yes on
Not a
that.
tax increase, please.
Not a tax increase, it's a renewal. And then also the 2020 school bond issue, you know, it's not a new bond, it's to replace one that's about to sunset.
Anybody else? Your legislative breakfast.
Oh.
That is,
It's the first, no,
it's February,
We don't have anywhere to host it.
it's
it's
at
at
the,
the
it's
high
at,
school
It's a
library.
When is that?
hang on,
February
I'm trying
what?
to find it. 14th, 7 o'clock at the, high school
7
library.
a.m.
Yeah, 7 a.m. It's the legislative breakfast that they have every year.
If you haven't been to a legislative breakfast, I highly recommend as business owners and residents you attend them. It gives you an opportunity to discuss state politics and things that affect your area with your state representative and your,
The senator
well,
won't be there.
we won't have a
It'll just be
senator
your-
there.
It'll just be a
It'll just be
representative.
Kevin Wallace.
What day is that?
Yeah.
Friday, Valentine's
Oh,
Day,
Valentine's
and
Day.
The 14th at 7 a.m.
at the high school library.
High school library.
If you can't make that when they hold, there will be one at Meeker and.
There'll be one at Meeker, there'll be one at Davenport, there'll be one at Chandler and Fred.
No, he can't make it. Jason won't be there. If you don't know, our state representative, our state senator resigned at February 1st, right?
It's effective in this week.
Yeah. Anybody interested in running for state senator? I'm sure they'll have a special election for that.
It's what it said, they had that special election.
If there's nothing else, the last thing on there is adjournment.